Do you ever wish you could learn faster, deeper, and with more confidence? Imagine taking a new skill and moving from beginner to capable, not in years, but in months. Welcome to the Ultralearning Blueprint, a clear plan for rapid skill gain through self-directed learning. Welcome to Better Self. This channel helps you grow your life while improving your English. Today we will walk through a step-by-step approach to learning fast, staying focused, and building skills that last. The language here is simple and clear, and the ideas are powerful. Listen, follow along, and try the short exercises. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is ultralearning and why it works? Ultralearning means intense, focused learning that you design and direct yourself. It is not the same as casually reading or watching tutorials. It is a plan, with clear goals, concentrated practice, and fast feedback. Think of it like building a small, high-intensity training camp for your brain. You choose a skill, coding, public speaking, a musical instrument, speaking a language. Then you map out a tight route forward and commit to it for a focused period. This method works because it uses how the brain naturally learns best, through active effort, direct practice, and correction. Imagine you want to learn to speak Spanish well. You could spend many months watching random videos and hoping to improve. Or you could plan a focused 8-week project, learn the 500 most common words, practice speaking with a tutor 3 times a week, record yourself, and compare to native speakers, and spend time every day listening actively. You would make faster progress because you are practicing the real skill, speaking, not just passively consuming information. This is the core idea of ultralearning. Train the skill you want to use. There is a clear reason ultralearning beats passive study. The brain strengthens the connections it uses most. When you repeatedly try to use a skill and correct mistakes, those connections become stronger and faster. Passive learning, like watching a lecture without practice, creates weak memories that fade quickly. Active learning, trying, failing, fixing, and trying again, builds durable knowledge and real ability. This chapter's main point is simple. Focused, intentional practice gives far better results than unfocused study. A helpful analogy is learning to swim. You can read about swimming, watch videos of strokes, and buy the best gear. But unless you get into the water and practice the stroke, you will not learn to swim. The pool gives immediate feedback. You feel when you sink or when your stroke is wrong. Ultralearning is getting into that pool as often as possible and practicing the exact motions that will help you move forward. There are also psychological reasons why ultralearning is strong. When you set a clear, demanding goal and see rapid progress, your motivation rises. Quick wins fuel continued effort. When the learning is self-directed, you choose tasks that matter to you, so the work feels meaningful. And when progress is visible, it becomes easier to continue, even when the work is hard. In other words, ultralearning creates a positive cycle. Intense practice produces fast improvement, which motivates more focused practice. To apply ultralearning, start by picking a clear skill and a realistic time frame. Break the skill into smaller parts you can practice directly. Make a plan with frequent feedback and deliberate correction. Keep the sessions short enough to stay focused, but frequent enough to build momentum. You will not always feel comfortable. Intense learning stretches you. But the discomfort is the sign your brain is rewriting itself. Now, take a moment and name one skill you would like to improve quickly. How clear is your goal? Instead of get better at writing, try write 5 readable 500-word blog posts in 4 weeks. Or instead of learn programming, try build a small web app that stores notes and tags. The more specific your goal, the easier it will be to design focused practice. Keep that goal in mind. It will guide the rest of this blueprint. Chapter 2. Meta-learning. Mapping the territory. Before you rush into practice, spend time on meta-learning. Meta-learning is learning about learning for a specific skill. It is a short planning phase that saves you weeks or months of wasted effort. Think of meta-learning as a map. It shows where you need to go, what routes work, and where the pitfalls lie. A good map helps you focus on the right terrain instead of wandering aimlessly. Start by asking 3 simple questions. What do I want to be able to do? How do people who are already good at this skill work? What resources or methods will get me there fastest? These questions shape a practical plan. For example, if you want to learn conversational Japanese, your map might show that grammar rules help, but the most effective path is speaking practice with native speakers, listening to relevant podcasts, and learning useful phrases for real situations. Meta-learning helps you choose the fastest route, not the easiest or the most comfortable, but the most effective for real skill. A real example helps. Scott Young, a learner known for planning extreme self-directed projects, started with meta-learning when he attempted to learn the MIT computer science curriculum in a year. He did not dive straight into the classes. First, he mapped the curriculum, selected the core courses that matched his goals, and identified the key textbooks and project work that would give him practical skill. He designed a plan around projects and exams that would force real performance. The mapping step reduced confusion and kept him focused on what mattered. Be honest and practical in your meta-learning. List the sub-skills you will need. For public speaking, sub-skills include structuring a talk, controlling your pace, practicing gestures, and managing nerves. For programming, sub-skills may include debugging, reading documentation, writing tests, and understanding algorithms. Prioritize those sub-skills by impact. Which actions will bring the largest gains towards your goal? Create a short learning guide for yourself. Write a 1-page plan that answers what skill, why it matters, how I will practice, what resources I will use, and how I will measure success. Keep this document simple and practical. It will be your map when you feel lost. Update it as you learn more, but use it to guide your daily practice. Here is a practical step to do right now. Take 10 to 15 minutes and map your skill. Write down the main goal, then list 6-10 sub-skills. Next to each sub-skill, write 1 direct practice method, the kind of exercise that will force you to use that sub-skill. For each method, name 1 resource you will use. This small meta-learning habit will save you time and keep practice purposeful. 2 final points about meta-learning. First, it does not have to be perfect. A rough map is better than none. You will refine it as you go. Second, meta-learning should be short. Spend a focused period at the beginning of your project to build a map, then move to practice. Too much planning without action is a trap. Use meta-learning to choose the right actions, and then act. Chapter 3. Focus. The deep work of Ultralearning. Focus is the engine of Ultralearning. Without focused attention, time spent studying scatters into shallow learning. Focused sessions create intense memory and skill change. When you concentrate on one specific task without distraction, your brain enters a productive state where it can form new connections quickly. I call this state deliberate concentration, and it is where most real learning happens. Think of focus like sharpening a knife. If you drag a dull blade across cloth in short bursts while answering emails, it will not sharpen. But if you sit quietly, concentrate, and sharpen the blade with consistent strokes, it becomes keen. In learning, distractions dull your efforts. Phone notifications, open tabs, multitasking, these break concentration and slow progress. A single hour of deep focus is often more valuable than 3 hours of distracted work. To build focus, set clear, timed sessions. Use a simple rhythm, 45 minutes of work, followed by 10-15 minutes of rest. These blocks are long enough to get into deep concentration, but not so long that your attention collapses. During a session, remove obvious distractions. Put your phone in another room, close unnecessary browser tabs, and let others know you are unavailable. Use headphones or soft background sound if it helps you concentrate, but avoid music with lyrics that compete with language processing when you are learning words or grammar. Practice, practicing. Your ability to focus is itself a skill that improves with training. Start with shorter sessions if needed, 20 or 30 minutes, and gradually increase the length. Track how many deep sessions you do each day, and aim for consistency. Over time, the number of focused hours will increase, and the quality of each session will improve. Stories help here. A musician learning a new piece will practice small, difficult passages slowly, repeating them until each measure feels correct. They do not practice by playing the whole piece at full speed for 1 hour, while checking their messages every few minutes. That scattered approach never leads to mastery. The same applies to any skill. Break the work into manageable chunks and commit to full attention during each chunk. Another technique is to use a single visible timer. The timer acts like a small contract with yourself. You will work completely for the set time. It limits the temptation to multitask and keeps the mind anchored. Combine the timer with a clear outcome for the session, such as fix the verb tense mistakes in this 500-word essay or implement, and test this function until it passes 3 cases. A clear outcome keeps focus tight. Focus also benefits from environment. Choose a place that signals work, a quiet desk, a library, or a dedicated corner in your home. Make the area tidy and reserved for learning so your brain associates it with concentration. When you enter that space, your mind prepares for focused effort. If you cannot access a quiet space, reduce distractions as best you can and use brief, high-intensity practice sessions that fit your environment. Finally, remember to rest. Focus works when the brain is fresh. Sleep, short breaks, and time away from the task are part of the process. Intense sessions followed by rest and reflection produce sustainable progress. Try to schedule your deepest practice during your most alert part of the day, morning for some, evening for others. Observe when your focus is best, and build your ultra-learning routine around that rhythm. Take a small action now. Set a timer for 45 minutes, and choose one specific learning task. Turn off notifications, close other tabs, and commit to the session. After the time ends, write down what you achieved. Over time, these focus blocks will add up to dramatic improvement. Chapter 4. Directness. Practice what you will use in. Directness is a simple but powerful principle. Practice the exact skill you want to use. If your goal is to have conversations in French, then practice speaking and listening in real contexts, not just memorizing lists of words. If you want to code real applications, practice building projects that mirror real work. Direct practice transfers more effectively to actual performance because it trains the specific patterns and decisions required in the real task. A clear example makes this obvious. Suppose you want to become a better presenter. Many people read books about public speaking or watch TED Talks hoping to absorb style. But watch one TED Talk, and you will not automatically become a better speaker. The direct path is to write short talks, rehearse them, deliver them to small groups, and record and review the performance. Doing the real thing, speaking for an audience, helps you learn pacing, handling nerves, and responding to live questions. These are skills that only appear in the real practice environment. Directness demands honesty. Ask yourself, will this practice lead to real-world ability? If you are studying chess, solving endgame puzzles teaches specific patterns, but playing full games exposes decision-making under time pressure. Both methods have value, but if your aim is to win rapid games online, then practice those rapid games directly. If the practice does not match the goal, change the method. Design practice sessions to simulate real conditions. If you plan to use your speaking skill in business meetings, rehearse speaking with timing, interruptions, and questions. If you are training for a job interview, practice answering common questions and handling the stress of being watched. The closer your practice is to the target situation, the more likely your learning will transfer. Sometimes direct practice can be uncomfortable. Real tasks often involve messy problems and social pressure. But comfort is not the goal. Ability is. Embrace discomfort as data. Each awkward moment reveals a gap to fix. Learning to cope with these moments is part of the skill. If direct practice is hard to arrange, create proxies that share key features of the final task. For example, language learners may not immediately find native conversation partners. They can use voice chat with learners, shadow audio from real conversations, or simulate dialogues in writing, and then speak them aloud. The proxy should reproduce the most important elements: timing, language use, and feedback. Measure progress in terms of real outcomes. For public speaking, one measure is the quality of audience responses. For coding, it is whether the program runs and handles edge cases. For language, it is whether you can complete a conversation without switching to your native language. Numbers and performance checks give clear evidence that direct practice works. Try this. Pick one aspect of your skill and practice it the way you will use it. If you are learning to write emails in English, write 3 real emails to friends or colleagues and ask for feedback. If you want to prepare for presentations, record a 3-minute talk and share it with someone. Direct practice may feel scary, but it accelerates learning more than anything else. Chapter 5. Drill. Isolate and fix the weakest link. Drill is targeted practice aimed at specific weaknesses. While direct practice trains the whole skill, drill sharpens parts that hold you back. Think of it as surgery for your performance. Identify the precise problem and work on that alone until it improves. Drills are not fun, but they are efficient. They remove the bottlenecks that stop progress. A clear story shows how drills help. A pianist preparing a performance may stumble on a fast passage with tricky fingerings. Playing the entire piece will keep revealing the same mistake. The effective approach is to isolate that passage, slow it down, repeat it in short bursts, and gradually increase speed until accuracy improves. This is drill. The rest of the piece can be practiced later, but the bottleneck is fixed first. How do you find the weakest link? Regular feedback reveals it. Use recordings, teacher comments, or honest self-reflection. Find the moments where errors occur, hesitation happens, or you feel unsure. Those moments are your targets. Once identified, design a drill that directly addresses the issue. Good drills share 4 qualities. They are specific, measurable, repeatable, and progressive. Specific means the drill targets a clear behavior, a verb tense, a chord change, a bug type. Measurable means you can count improvements, time to complete, error rate, or success rate. Repeatable means you can practice the drill again and again. Progressive means the drill gets harder as you improve, increase speed, complexity, or resistance. Drills can be creative. A language learner struggling with English pronunciation might practice minimal pairs, words like ship and sheep, repeating them in sets until differences feel natural. A coder who struggles with debugging can drill by fixing small, broken programs under time pressure. An athlete can isolate a movement and do focused reps. Each of these drills is short, intense, and targeted. Balance is important. Too much drilling can lead to narrow skill, good at the isolated piece, but poor at integration. Alternate focus drills with direct practice to ensure the isolated skills transfer to real performance. For example, after drilling a musical passage, play the whole piece to connect the fixed part into the larger flow. After language drills, use new sentences in real conversation. Make drills a regular habit. Include a short drill session in each practice block. Even 10 to 20 minutes of targeted work per session adds up. Keep a log of your drills, what you worked on, how long, and what improved. This record helps you see progress and decide where to focus next. A practical action. Identify one small but persistent problem in your skill. Design a 15-minute drill for it. Be very specific about what success looks like. Repeat the drill daily for a week, then test the result in a direct practice session. Watch how the bottleneck shifts and celebrate the improvement. Chapter 6. Retrieval and Active Recall, Pulling Memory Out on. Active recall, or retrieval practice, is the process of bringing information out of your memory rather than putting it in passively. Studying by reading or highlighting feels productive, but it creates weak memories. Testing yourself, trying to recall facts, rules, or steps, builds stronger memory. Active recall is like muscle training. You do the work of lifting memory, and it grows stronger with use. A strong example comes from language learning. Instead of reading a vocabulary list, test yourself by trying to use the words in sentences without looking. When you struggle to recall a word, that struggle helps the brain strengthen the retrieval path. Similarly, for technical skills, close the book and try to explain a concept out loud or write it from memory. The act of retrieving makes the knowledge more durable. Active recall also reveals gaps that passive study hides. When you force yourself to produce knowledge, you see exactly where your understanding breaks. These failures are valuable because they show you what to fix next. In Ultralearning, use frequent low-stakes testing to find weak spots quickly and focus your drills there. Combine retrieval with spaced repetition for best results. Spaced repetition is the idea of revisiting information at increasing intervals. When you recall something successfully, wait longer before testing it again. When you fail to recall, shorten the interval. Tools like flashcards or spaced repetition software automate this schedule, but you can also use a simple paper system. Sort cards into boxes for soon, later, and much later review. Active recall is not just for facts. It works for skills too. Try to reproduce a technique from memory, then compare your attempt to the correct method. For instance, a programmer can try to write a sorting algorithm on paper without references. A musician can play a memorized piece without looking at the score. These exercises test both memory and skill under pressure. Here is a useful habit. End each study session with a short retrieval test. Close your notes and write down everything you remember about the topic for 5 minutes. Then check your work and correct mistakes. This quick test reinforces learning and shows what to review next. Over time, the act of retrieval will make your knowledge faster and more reliable. Another benefit of retrieval is confidence. Each successful recall shows that you can use the knowledge without help. Confidence reduces anxiety and supports more ambitious practice. Celebrate small wins. Every time you remember something without checking, you have made your mind stronger. Try this now. After you finish a study block, take 3 minutes to summarize the key points from memory. Write or speak them aloud. Notice the things you cannot recall and plan to review them in your next session. This simple habit turns passive study into active learning. Chapter 7. Feedback. Seek it fast and make it actionable. Feedback is the compass that keeps Ultralearning on course. Without it, you practice in the dark and may reinforce mistakes. Fast and clear feedback tells you what to change and how to change it. The faster you get feedback, the faster you learn. Feedback should be specific, timely, and linked to a clear corrective action. There are many sources of feedback. Teachers and mentors give expert feedback, peers offer perspective, and self-testing provides objective data. Choose a mix that fits your skill and resources. For example, if you are learning drawing, a teacher can point out compositional issues, while photographing your progress and comparing it to references gives immediate self-feedback. Use external feedback to catch blind spots you cannot see yourself. Feedback is most useful when it is tied to a clear standard. For example, rather than vague comments like "good job," ask for specifics. Which part of my pronunciation still sounds non-native? Or where did my logic fail in the code? Specific questions make it easier for others to give useful answers. When you ask for feedback, be precise about what you want examined and what kind of correction would help. Fast feedback is not always available from teachers. In that case, design immediate forms of feedback. Record your speaking practice and listen to discrepancies. Use test scripts for programming that reveal exact failing lines. Set clear performance checks. Can you handle a 5-minute conversation? Does the program run without errors? These binary checks give quick feedback and guide further practice. Importantly, feedback must lead to action. If a tutor tells you your accent needs work, find concrete drills or materials that address the problem and practice them. Don't collect criticism without turning it into a plan. Good learners treat feedback as a map to practice. It points to the exact place to drill next. There is courage in seeking harsh feedback. Many people avoid critique to protect their ego. But deliberate learners invite critique because they value progress more than comfort. Make feedback a habit. After each practice session, ask one question to a partner, teacher, or yourself. What is one specific thing I can improve in the next session? Then, act on that answer. A useful method is to schedule frequent short reviews. Instead of waiting weeks for feedback, get quick microfeedback every day or two. These small corrections prevent large mistakes from becoming habits. Over time, the accumulation of small fixes creates big improvement. Try this. After a practice session, upload a short recording or sample of your work to someone you trust and ask for 2 concrete improvements. If no one is available, compare your work to a high-quality example and note 3 differences you can correct. Use the feedback to design your next drill. Chapter 8. Retention. Spacing, overlearning, and the long game. Learning fast is not enough if you forget fast. Retention, keeping the skill over months and years, requires strategy. 2 powerful tools are spacing and overlearning. Spacing means spreading review over time. Overlearning means practicing beyond initial mastery until the skill becomes automatic. Together, they make knowledge durable. Spacing works because memory fades in a predictable way. After you learn something, revisit it after a few days, then again after a week, then after a month. Each time you recall it, the memory becomes stronger and the forgetting curve flattens. This schedule makes long-term retention efficient. Spaced repetition systems, simple calendars, or even a notebook with dated reviews can implement this idea. Overlearning is the practice of continuing to train even after you can do the task correctly. For example, if you can solve a puzzle in 10 minutes, practice it until you can solve it in 8, reliably and accurately. Overlearning makes the skill more automatic and reduces the chance of errors when under stress. It is particularly useful for foundational skills that must be reliable in real performance. Combine spacing and overlearning in a simple routine. After you master a subskill, practice it again after a short gap, then increase the gap. When you test yourself and succeed, schedule the next review further out. If you fail, move the review closer. Over time, the skill will become stable. Retention strategies also include varied practice. Practice the skill in different contexts, so it becomes robust. A language learner should practice vocabulary in conversation, writing, and listening, so words appear in multiple contexts. A coder should test the function under different inputs and edge cases. This variety makes memory more flexible. Another useful habit is periodic performance checks. Real-world tests that force you to use the skill without support. For a language learner, that could be a video call with a native speaker every month. For a programmer, it might be a small project released to users. These checks reveal forgotten gaps and motivate review. Make a plan for long-term reviews. After your initial Ultralearning burst, schedule follow-up sessions at 1 week, 1 month, and 3 months to refresh the core skills. Keep a log of what you reviewed and how well you performed. This log becomes the backbone of your retention plan. A practical action. Choose one core skill you have recently learned. Schedule brief review sessions at increasing intervals over the next 3 months. Each session should include both retrieval and a short performance test. Watch how your confidence grows and how the skill becomes easier to use under pressure. Chapter 9. Motivation and Grit. Staying the course. Ultralearning is intense by design, and motivation must be managed like a resource. Grit, the ability to continue despite setbacks, matters a lot. Motivation rises and falls, so build structures to sustain effort over time. The best systems blend emotional commitment with practical routines. Start with purpose. Connect the skill to a meaningful outcome. Why do you want this skill? For career growth? For personal satisfaction? For connection with others? The deeper the purpose, the easier it is to endure discomfort. Write your reason in a simple sentence and read it often. This reminder helps when practice becomes hard. Next, design habits and routines that make practice automatic. Set specific times and places for deep sessions. Make practice part of your weekly schedule, not a vague promise. Use small commitments to build momentum. 2 focused sessions per week at first, increasing gradually. Routine reduces decision fatigue and keeps you moving on days when motivation is low. Social support matters. Share your plan with a friend or partner, or find a study partner who will hold you accountable. Public commitment, telling others about your goal, increases follow-through. Online communities and local groups also offer encouragement and useful feedback. When progress is slow, other learners remind you why the work matters. Track progress visually. A simple calendar where you mark practice days creates a visible chain of effort. Seeing the chain grow makes you less likely to break it. Celebrate small milestones. Complete a week of focused sessions, finish a drill set, or give a short public performance. These celebrations build positive momentum. Grit also benefits from realistic pacing. Intense bursts are powerful, but burnout undermines long-term progress. Mix high-intensity weeks with lighter weeks. Use rest weeks to reflect and consolidate rather than stop learning entirely. Listen to your body and mind. Exhaustion reduces learning quality. When setbacks happen, reframe them as information rather than failure. A stalled period reveals a problem in your plan, not your identity. Ask what to change. Adjust the schedule, change the drill, or seek new feedback. Small, practical changes often revive momentum quickly. Try this. Write 1 sentence about why this skill matters to you. Then schedule 2 focused practice sessions this week and tell 1 person about your plan. The combination of clear purpose, routine, and social accountability will boost your persistence. Now bring everything together into a personal ultra-learning project. You will design a plan that is specific, focused, and sustainable. Start with your goal, then use meta-learning to map the skill. Choose direct practice tasks, plan drills and retrieval sessions, and set feedback loops. Include a schedule for focused sessions and a retention plan for after the initial burst. Begin with a clear statement. What exactly will you be able to do at the end of the project? For instance, in 3 months, I will be able to hold a 15-minute conversation about my work in Spanish with minimal pauses, or in 8 weeks, I will be able to build and deploy a basic web app that stores notes and tags. Specific targets help you design the rest. Create a weekly structure. Decide how many deep sessions you will do and when. For example, plan 5 45-minute deep sessions per week, plus 1 longer session for review, and 1 day for rest. Within each session, define the exact task, a direct practice activity, a drill, or a retrieval test. Keep the sessions consistent so they build habit. Choose measures of success. Quantify progress with metrics tied to real performance. For language, measure number of uninterrupted minutes in conversation. For coding, count completed features or passing tests. For public speaking, measure audience size or feedback ratings. Use short tests every week to see improvement and refine focus. Plan for feedback. Schedule weekly review with a mentor, attend a language exchange, or create automated tests for code. Use feedback to adjust your drills and map bot UI. Keep an improvement log. Record what you practiced, what feedback you received, and what you will change next session. Don't forget maintenance. After the intensive phase, set a retention schedule to keep skills alive. Plan spaced reviews and occasional direct practice in realistic situations. Learning is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing relationship with the skill. Here is a short example plan to copy. Goal: hold a 10-minute business conversation in German in 3 months. Meta-learning: list sub-skills, listening for business topics, useful phrases, small talk, Pronunciation. Direct practice. Weekly 30-minute calls with a native speaker. Drills. Pronunciation minimal pairs. Common phrase recall. Retrieval. Daily 5-minute recall of key phrases. Feedback. Weekly tutor review of recordings. Schedule. 5 focus sessions per week. Rest on Sunday. Measure. Minutes of uninterrupted conversation and number of phrases used correctly. Start small and iterate. Launch your project for a month, then review. Use feedback and performance tests to change the plan. Ultralearning is flexible. The best projects evolve with your progress. You now have the blueprint. Map the terrain with meta-learning. Practice with focused deep work. Use direct practice and drills to fix weak links. Rely on retrieval and feedback, and plan for retention and motivation. Ultralearning is intense, but it is also one of the fastest, most reliable ways to gain real skill. Remember, the hardest part is often starting. Commit to a short, clear project now, and take the first focused session today. You can do this. Pick one skill, create a simple plan, and practice with purpose. If you enjoyed this guide and want more practical, clear lessons to grow your life and improve your English, subscribe to Better Self for new videos every week. Keep learning, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.